there's a few different phases. Maybe I'm going to identify at least 3 different phases one goes through when they appreciate an album. Let's say there's some album that's been critically acclaimed. Everyone tells you it's brilliant. You know, you go and listen to it. Yeah, you think it's great. You go back and listen to it. Yeah, this is better than I remember. I'm enjoying this more so now that I'm familiar with it, and my mind and my ears are used to it. You enjoy it more the second time around. And then you're listening to it regularly at your work, and you're excited for every different track that comes on. And it's like, oh yeah, this, and you know, you're moving your body to it, you're dancing to it. It's just a fantastic fun time. Food. MF Doom rapping about all the things that are close to his heart, that makes him motivated, that he looks forward to. It'd be like me rapping about films and music and Wheat Bix and Vegemite toast with coconut butter. I could try to put something together about, you know, weekends, Wheat Bix, fish burgers, missing print of Doctor Who, Mike Skill's Doom, missing. Yeah, it's hard. It's annoying to try. It's difficult to try and put together. It has to be your life's mission in order to make these verses and this rhyming as good, as strong as it is. And you know, these individuals, these artists dedicate their entire, it becomes their mission in existence. This is a difficult review for me to compose because it's not going to be very interesting just for me to describe, you know, oh yeah, this is why I love that song. Well, I mean, I don't know, how informative is that going to be? I mean, as a selling point, you don't, if you enjoy hip hop music, you already adore food, or you have another opinion on it. We have an opinion on it one way or another. If you're not a hip hop fan, you're not going to waste your time with something that you assume you don't have the capacity to enjoy. This is my proposal to, say, I don't know, let's say a Tranquility viewer who is not nominally a fan of hip hop. This is the one I want you to start out with. If you're into the kind of geek culture, Monsters Den sort of stuff, well, let me propose to you, if you're not familiar with MF Doom, a hip-hop artist who has found a certain kinship, a rapport with Victor Von Doom, with the Fantastic Four, with Reed Richards' arch nemesis, Dr. Doom, and he has centered this album partly around samples from the 1960s Fantastic Four cartoon. And he's identifying with Doom as this character who wears a mask to hide his scars from the world. It is the most brilliant, entertaining, and it's one of the most poignant acts of an artist feeling a relation to the depiction of I guess it's more of it's a bit meta. I was going to compare it to the idolization of Frankenstein's monster in The Spirit of the Beehive by Victor Erice, although obviously there's something more meta about the artist that you're listening to the music of, and their adulation of a completely fictional character, and even listening to an artist adore an actor or an individual in the real world, you know, someone like Morrissey might, that there's something, I think Food and Doom's attachment to this comic book / cartoon character, it's a fantastic realization of just what these characters meant to people. I think it's part of what helped validate comic books in more hip and, I guess, trendy and edgy cultural circuits, is because it became so evident that individuals like MF Doom were so enamored and empowered by comic book characters and created such glorious works of art out of it that weren't necessarily, you know, just more comic books repeating the process of, you know, male power fantasies. It was, and obviously there was the converse fascination of this attitude being felt toward a supervillain. It captivated many. I'm at the point where I find it hard to imagine that the average fan of comic books or geek culture, say, who enjoys the character of Doctor Doom in any way, shape, or form, and I know many geeks and fans of you know, fantastical media, you know, the imaginative, creative outlets in fiction. I know there's a fondness for one of the great supervillains of all time. And what if there was a recording artist out there who wished that they were Victor Von Doom, and they composed these absolutely glorious albums surrounding that kind of pathos, that personality, that disposition. Well, here he is. He's MF Doom. Food is one of the great works of art of the 21st century thus far. It is so much fucking fun. It makes me look forward to going to work at this point. I mean, I like my job anyway, but still, it's just an added bonus. My goodness, you know.
And I'm well aware that I might be getting something wrong about the actual, you know, historical, journalistic, archaeological, you know, the precise history, reasoning, quotes from the artists themselves, the history of MF Doom, and why he did what he did. There's many who will, you know, feasibly have, you know, a plausible reason to come in here and tarnish myself for having a very basic, minimal, you know, entry-level understanding of MF Doom as an artist. I want this video to exist as a proposal to non-hip-hop fans who may have been watching these videos, anyone who enjoys other genres of music, but they have felt a certain, I don't know about alienation, because, you know, just a wall comes up toward their enjoyment of hip-hop, you know, for whatever reason. Sincerely, Food is one of the most entertaining albums I've ever heard, certainly from this century. I think it is... What's been absolutely brilliant about hip-hop is it's been an extraordinary validation of the album / the LP as an art form in a time in a century when it has really no reason to exist anymore. In the 2000s, it was all about these singles, these pop hit singles on the radio or in music videos that you see on, you know, video hits. You watch them in the morning, Rage, whatever. Rage less so, that's more arty and Triple J and all that, which, you know, it's fine. And but this, you know, albums, it wasn't really about albums. It was like the CDs just had songs you liked on it. It wasn't about albums as a listening experience. And hip hop really made young people and people who were otherwise considered, you know, quite, let's say, destitute by conservative standards. A lot of them very nice people, don't get me wrong. I hang out with these people. But it made these people were appreciating these sequences of songs as though they were novels. They were appreciating albums. It's just much like the 1970s, I suppose, if you're the kids hanging out taking drugs and listening to Dark Side of the Moon or Rush 20 on 12 or whatever the hell. Hip-hop has resurrected this, has kept this tradition alive far more so than rock music has, frankly. In my opinion, that's just... Rock music's more just about a series of songs in a sort of 90s silly 50-minute hour CD for the car grunge, post-grunge sense. It's kind of crap, actually. Especially, I mean, that's not what Nirvana's intention was, but all of its imitators, that seems to be the intent for the Nirvana hack imitators, including the Foo Fighters, by the way. No disrespect to... I mean, Dave Grohl seems like a nice enough man at times, but I think the Foo Fighters has been like an absolute joke, to be honest. If you wish that rock music was interesting in the age of the Foo Fighters, just try another genre. Get into hip-hop and try MF Doom. I think he's the one. His passing in 2020 is an extraordinary loss to the history of recorded music. And in my brief, you know, my kind of tip of the iceberg exploration of hip-hop, not that I'm necessarily an expert on rock music, to be fair, really at all, actually. Or, you know, there's so much rock music recorded over the years, and any of us have barely heard a fraction of it, obviously. Maybe if you're around at the time, you heard more of it, to be fair. But yeah, it's if you're bored, you got an hour aside, 40 to 50 minutes aside. MF Doom, Food, it's super.